To look at this focus on self, what we're talking about is a concept called cognitive capacity. Our capacity to think at any one time is finite. Let's say 100%. The total cognitive capacity is 100%, and in order to get something done, we use parts of that capacity. Our capacity to think or problem solve or complete a task at any one time is finite. When we multitask, we are dividing that 100% of capacity among many things. The more familiar one is with a task, the less cognitive capacity it requires. Put another way, when one is doing something for the first time, it will take more cognitive capacity. But when something is familiar but put into a new context with new constraints, that same task may also require more cognitive capacity. So, in order to complete the task, we must stop doing other things, like painting one's toenails. In order to reach a goal or complete a task, we rely on our cognitive capacity. And when giving a task, a teacher has to think about how much of that capacity is utilized. We call that amount the cognitive load. When the task requires less cognitive load than the cognitive capacity that's available, it can be completed reasonably smoothly. And that cognitive load involves effort, knowledge, attitudes, skills that are required to reach that task. However, when the cognitive load is greater than the capacity that's available, then a learner may begin to feel frustrated, confused, and overwhelmed. In that case, they either don't want to complete the task or perhaps are unable to do so. In this case, it is best to look at that original task and to divide it into chunks. Then one can approach the completion of the task in steps. When one learns chunk 1 and has enough cognitive capacity to be able to process and complete the task, one is ready for chunk 2. And chunk 1 becomes a foundational step for chunk 2. When one has completed chunk 1 and chunk 2, then there is a foundation for completing chunk 3, and there is still enough cognitive capacity for the processing of all 3 chunks.